Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, the Arsenal edition. This is your host, Dean, and I am here with Coach. What's going on, Coach?
I'm just pleased, man. I'm pleased. I'm happy. I'm really happy.
Okay, so does this mean you're in a better mood today than you were, say, midweek after the loss of Villarreal? Or were you just always calm about the whole thing? I get the sense you were.
Yeah, I mean, maintained like a pretty neutral stance throughout preseason. Like I never got too high, I never got too low because yeah, I'm just like I like observing and seeing the players actually working. Like Arteta's mentioned a million times, and Bear coaches have mentioned a million times. The players don't actually get to train, so it's nice to see players training, you know, and they're not there to essentially impress people, like the anxious and short-sighted fans that I want to see changed like yesterday. And, a lot of these people don't even understand what they're watching anyway. So it's like, fuck trying to impress them. Like, let's just actually try and do our work. So, yeah, man, today's probably the happiest I've been because I'm a sucker for good midfield players and Arsenal have that in the first 11 at least in abundance. So, yeah.
Excited. We're going to talk about that in a little more detail in a moment here. But first, the lineup. It was David Raya in goal, Umar Timber at right back, William Saliba, Gabriel back as well, Calafiori in for MLS, Zubimendi and Rice at the base of midfield, Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, and Victor Gyokeres as the nine today. Any surprises for you?
Um, yeah, Calafiori. like, yeah. Okay, this is just going to be the theme, I think, for his time at Arsenal. I'm always going to be shocked when he starts. Yeah, how about that? I'm always going to be shocked. And any more surprises? I'd probably say maybe Gyokeres starting again. I think I'm not. I wasn't expecting it, which is good. That's a good thing. So yeah.
Correct, correct. I entirely thought that we'd be seeing Havertz back since he had a little niggle. He was supposed to be back. I'm like, okay, he needs to get loaded up for Old Trafford, because I'm like, we're gonna take our time blending this other guy into the team. It's gonna take a while for us to recognize the runs. It's easier for one guy to change his way of playing than it is for 10 guys to change their way of playing. So I figured it would take a while, but on today's evidence, let's get into it. Um, Good Lord. The starts of the game, good tempo. Again, I think pretty much every preseason game has started well for Arsenal. I think there's been a good tempo, really crisp build up, a variety of ways to build up. The first very obvious thing, because we're all here excited about watching the first choice midfield play start a game for the first time in this preseason. The first obvious thing was that Rice and Zubimendi were mostly on the same line. I did not expect that. I was glad to see it. It worked based on the result, but what were your insights from that? And do you think that's the way we plan to proceed moving forward, or do you think that will be a thing that changes based on the opponent?
Um, to answer the latter part of the question, I think knowing Arteta it changes on depending on the opponent, but it's nice to know that Arsenal have that option. And I might be skipping ahead in terms of what I think the team may go to, but I think there's enough evidence there to suggest that in possession we could also play 4-4-2 because a 4-4-2 is very dependent on just how good and athletic and uh, well-rounded your central midfielders are. So yeah, I was. It wasn't the evolution I was expecting. Knowing how Arteta wants to play, but again, I've been slightly surprised. I want to say there. Yeah, it's looking good for sure.
Looking good, bro.
Yeah.
Over to the Gyokeres thing, like, because I think that's what's been chapping most people making up all these people ashy and type all these terrible takes on the internet. It's about Gyokeres, like Arsenal playing too slow. They're not looking for him. They're not finding his runs. It's guys. It was one game. It wasn't even a full game. But in any event, I think there was an obvious emphasis on trying to find him more quickly today. Arsenal played far more directly than I've seen in many years, I want to say, at this point. Like, I want to say not since Arteta first came in and we were playing like a 3-4-3 have we played as directly as I watched us play today. That said, I thought the intent was there, if not the speed. Do you agree or do you think I'm being harsh?
No, I think it's very obvious that the verticality of this team, there's been an emphasis on it, for sure. I mean, even looking at going back to the midfield, Declan Rice's role on the ball is to essentially get the ball out of his feet and just send a rocket, directly over the top to the wing. Whoever was basically running into space, that was his job. And while we know that Many's got a great, passing range and he's a good passer, I think it's very, very clear who the best long range passer in this entire squad is, and it's Declan Rice. Um, and it was the fact that we didn't have to do it all the time, but we did. Like we were like, we're just gonna keep trying to get it to our best players as quickly as possible, as early as possible, and let them battle it out. It was really refreshing to see, man.
Yeah. So how do you think that approach to the game applied to Gyokeres? Like, do you think he was a beneficiary of that attitude as well?
Yeah, I think I had the I think I probably referenced it in the last pod, but had a back and forth with someone about how I think we would play with him and how I think I'm not too sure how quickly we would adapt or he would adapt to us, or vice versa, because I think, like you said, it's easier for one player to adapt to 10 players than 10 players to adapt to one player, basically. And again, this isn't me shading him, but his quality is his quality. I think he's got a lot of good qualities, but if we're talking someone like on the level of Haaland or whatever, I think it's a lot easier to kind of bow or bend the knee to his strengths because it's Haaland. And Gyokeres, there was a little bit of question marks over it, at least from where I was looking at it from. So the fact that it looks like we found a happy medium relatively early, that's a very good sign. That's a very, very good sign. And just on the ways we were trying to do it as well, it was very obvious that the two output guys in the front line is Gyokeres and Martinelli, and they weren't getting each other's way, but they were both options for the final pass. And it plays to both their strengths. They're not. You don't want them to be high touch players. You don't want those two to ever be high touch players. Leave that to Saka. Leave that to Odegaard. Let those guys get the ball in shooting distance, basically, and hopefully find a solution there. So yeah, I think overall the team is leaning and trusting the forward line a little bit more, I think.
That sort of matches my observations, even if I didn't think it was perfect to begin with, but that wasn't the expectation. Perfection is not the expectation. Um, you mentioned being surprised by Calafiori starting this game largely because of his fitness history, but I thought his presence, and we've seen this before from last season when he actually played, when he had a good stretch of games in the team. He almost single-handedly made Martinelli look like a good player again for a lot of people. And I feel as if today was another illustration of how important he is on that left side. So it begs the question, who is your starter? And I know it's a squad game these days, but who is your starter? Like, say everybody is healthy and we're not worried about people getting injured. Who are you starting at left back? Is it MLS or is it Calafiori?
That's that's a question that I'm very, very glad that I'm finding it hard to answer. Like it's a very good problem to have, and the answer is I couldn't give a monkeys. I literally don't care. I don't care. I just know that getting the best out of Martinelli probably means Calafiori plays. Um, but it's not the end of the world if Miles plays as well. What I will say on their differences though, it's very clear that their final action are worlds apart. It just really is. And it's no slight on Miles. Miles has got a gazillion other tools. You know what I mean? He's like an Inspector Gadget. You don't know what the hell he's gonna pull out. But final action clearly isn't it. And whereas with Calafiori is a little bit more like the Joker in a sense that you don't know what sort of villainous concoction he's gonna pull out from his jacket kind of thing, and it works. He was high and wide today, which was again refreshing. I don't think Miles Lewis Skelly's quite comfortable there yet, but also he can chop inside and combine as well, which I just think. And when he gets running as well, it's like get out of the way. Basically, I think that's one place where they both overlap. Basically, where they've both got incredible running power with the ball. But with Calafiori, it feels as if he carries more danger because you know what's in that left foot. So yeah, sorry to go around a long way in this, but I don't care. I really don't care. Like you start whoever.
Your beginning and your conclusion both are I don't care, but your thesis is Calafiori. Like I was listening to you talk, and clearly you prefer Calafiori in the team, and so do I. And it's not based on the evidence of one game. I thought he was pretty good today, besides one incident where he passed the ball in the box and Bilbao intercepted, and there was a shot on goal. Raya made a good save. I ain't like that, but mistakes happen. It's all good. I think what sort of makes him more of a weapon, if you will, is that he just plays with so much imagination and freedom. Like there's no, I think it's impossible for a coach to actually shackle him. Like to shackle him, you just have to bench him. He doesn't know any other way to be as a player, and I think that imagination he brings, it sort of has a multiplier effect on other players. It makes them more imaginative. It makes them willing to take more risk, because he's never gonna pass and stand. He's gonna pass and run forward, you know. Then it's like, okay, if he's run forward, are you going to give it back to him? Or are you going to take advantage of the space that run has created? He's always forcing the action. And honestly, today, between him doing everything that you mentioned and Gyokeres and Martinelli making those X runs, depending on who was in and out, I thought the left side looked a lot better today than it has in quite a while. Do you take the same meaning? Obviously, we still want different, better personnel there, but I feel as if we can get the left side working the way it worked today against Athletic Bilbao, we're probably fine.
Well, that's the thing. It requires a lot to go right, and when I say a lot, it requires basically Calafiori to stay fit, which at this point is a lot to ask. And while I'm always of the opinion, square pegs and square holes. Miles Lewis-Skelly's future for me is always going to be in midfield. The fact he can play left back at this level is just a huge bonus for us. But he's not a left back, if that makes sense. Even though he's played it quite a bit, for the men's team and played a bit for the youth team as well. The fact remains is it was almost like a market opportunity within the squad. He filled a space to an incredible level. And I still think, I'm not against him even starting next week against United. But in fact, he probably should, to be fair, just because he's played more during pre-season. I feel like he's more ready as well. But really and truly, let's get him some midfield minutes as well, I think, and get Calafiori actually in rhythm and playing left back for us, because magic happens. And as well, the space that's vacated from Rice not actually pushing up into the left central midfield space kind of thing, that's like Calafiori's playground now. So he's committing players, and it's not clogged up now because he's essentially like a one-man army in that regard, and he can, play a 1-2, he can get a shot off, he can do whatever he likes. Whereas with Declan Rice, I'm not saying the ball dies with him, but I feel he takes a lot more time to think because it's not as natural for him. So yeah.
Just not a natural attacker. I mean, he's a fantastic footballer, but he's not a natural attacker. That's not a knock. It's just a fact. Everyone has their gifts. Everyone has their profile, and his is not attacking, but he's quite good regardless. That's a good point. Actually, you know what? Before we transition to midfield, I want to talk a little bit about Big Gabby. He looked a lot like himself today. I really couldn't tell that he'd been gone for a while. But then again, Athletic Bilbao didn't offer much threat, if we're being honest. They just really couldn't lay a glove on us. Do you think he starts next week at Old Trafford?
That's a good question, because I think it all depends on who starts for United as well. I don't know if he's quite right yet to play at full tilt. Because he's gonna have to run back to his own goal next week for sure. He's going to have to do that, and I'm not sure if we're ready to actually do that. I mean, I think we heard that he got injured because he reached a speed against Fulham that he hadn't reached in about 3 months, and that's essentially what done it. And we don't want to do that again, because United will try to stretch us next week 100%. And I think I'm a little bit more comfortable just from a conditioning point of view to play Kirill. Kirill played all of pretty much second half of last season, and then he's played all of pre-season as well. He's already got a good partnership with Saliba. So yeah, let's hopefully we're 3-0 up and we can bring him on to help, close the game out and potentially get a header, to make it 4, who knows. But yeah, I'd probably drip feed him in for now, and probably after international break, then we can start thinking about, giving him the big minutes again.
Seems logical. And one more before we lead the defense. Umar Timber also needed minutes. Started today. Looked good. Had a little bit of a scary moment when an Odegaard pass kind of took him too far off the pitch, but he seemed fine afterwards. I'm still starting White at Old Trafford. Where are you on that?
Who's okay, so it would be Dorgu and Cunha. Yeah, I think I'm probably starting. I'm starting White again, purely conditioning as well. I think. Remember, I think White was fit towards the end of last season, right? And then he's played all of pre-season as well. Yeah, he's probably in the best shape he's been probably since 23-24. So why
And
not?
even before that.
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
he was playing with an injury for a long time.
Yeah,
Long.
23, 24, he's playing with injury, but he was fantastic, man. Like, he made the most overlapping runs in the league that season, guys. Like, Ben White was unreal. Yeah, I'm probably starting Ben White, actually.
Okay.
It's not as pacey as it potentially could be on the other side with Ahmad and then Mbeumo. So, yeah, and go on.
I think with Ben, it's less about pace for me. That's my
Hmm.
concern, and more about trickiness. Like how tricky is the person he's coming up against? And there's no one at United, respectfully. I mean, and they got some players for sure. Ahmad is really nice with the ball. Buemo has some skill to him. Cunha, obviously, but I would say each one of those players I've mentioned has a like they can get past him once, but he will catch them up. Like they don't have enough of that I think maybe Mbuemo has enough separation
Yeah.
speed, but he's probably not going to play from that side anyway.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yes,
that's relevant.
that's what I mean. Dorgu is a fantastic carrier, and when he gets up ahead of steam, it's a little bit of the Calafioris as well. Like get out of the way, but again, it's yeah. I think with Saka on that side as well, Saka's probably going to give them a lot more to think about. To be fair, so yeah, let's see how it goes, man.
And frankly, I watched United play against Fiorentina today in what felt like David De Gea's delayed testimonial. Shame that he didn't get a real one when he left the club. But yeah, they look solid. But I mean, it's preseason, so it's hard to judge. But I didn't see anything that makes me like panicked. But it's still Old Trafford, so I'm sure as the time approaches, I'll be shitting myself per usual. Anyway, let's get on to what you really came here to talk about, Coach. The midfield. We already talked a little bit about Rice falling into that double pivot. I didn't anticipate that. I like it. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's good because Declan Rice, like we mentioned earlier, is not a natural offensive player, even if he's had good offensive production over the last couple seasons. So I've always felt like he's a little uncomfortable in those higher pockets. You know, he gets the ball, he has to think a bit. It's not really natural to him. When he has more space in front of him, you know, playing in a double pivot, he seems to function a little bit better. But we've talked about him a little bit, so I'd want you to start with the newest guy in the team. The guy who was probably the man of the match for me, despite the fact that he didn't score a goal. He did get the assist for the first goal. But Martin Zubimendi, we already knew he was good. He's been good for a while. But somehow, every time he plays, he's even better than I thought he was. um, is the midfield officially his yet, or how are we viewing this? I know it's a team sport and all that, but I kind of feel as if we're going to go as far as this man takes us.
Yeah, I think there's that sort of player. There's evidence for the last 20, 25 years that if you have that sort of player at a high level, you will win stuff. You will. You will win stuff. And they're usually Spanish as well. but yeah, we have to essentially, is there someone that we have to adapt to, the other 10 players have to adapt to? It's probably him, because I think he's earned it, but also he's just that damn good as well. So like I said on the last pod, in terms of the first pass, he is the first pass, even though Declan Rice was picking the ball up a lot. But it's because of Martin Zubimendi's position as well that allows Rice to essentially get the ball in areas that he can when he comes deep as well. He's such an intelligent mover, so he doesn't mind taking markers away from somebody else, because they're looking at thinking, oh my gosh, if Martin gets past us, he's gonna find a great pass in, and then we're fucked basically. But it's like, well, okay, well, we'll just give it to Declan Rice. You can just send it 70 yards into space. Then how about that? And it's also the fact that when we lose the ball, for me, it seems as if he's already always in the right place. He understands danger really quickly. Now, I wouldn't ever want him. Let's say Spain are playing England. It's happened already, kind of thing. I wouldn't want him and Declan Rice going against each other for a 50-50, because we know who's probably going to come out on top of that, basically. But what he's really good at,
Do we?
yeah,
Do
no,
we?
we do.
No, you think you do.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know. You may know. I don't know.
I think that the 6'2" one, that's that's built
Hey
like a
man, the
brick shit
ball is
house.
on the floor, bro.
Yeah, but I'm
The
talking
ball
about
is
if
on
we're
the
going in
floor.
for a 50-50, like I wouldn't want to tackle Declan Rice, put it like that. But the thing is that when we lose the ball, kind of thing, no, he doesn't anticipate danger, but he's not afraid to put a foot in. He's not afraid to be cynical. He's not afraid to use all of his frame. You know what I mean? To get the ball back and just be snappy and just set the tone. And I think, as much as centre backs can do that with a crunching tackle, it's really important that midfielders do it. It's even more important when your number 6 does it as well. I kind of want to compare it to the Jorginho Rice dynamic. Especially, we saw it probably at its very best against Liverpool when we beat them 3-1. And it was Jorginho doing a jumping. And today, Zubimendi was doing a lot of jumping as well. He wasn't always the deepest midfielder. And I think that throws teams off. It's a really clever tactic, man, because both are capable. It's just who's going to be the one to do it. You don't want Declan Rice beaming down your neck, but then Zubimendi is clearly good at it as well. So I'm just really pleased, man. Seriously, like it's good to have good midfielders, man. Seriously.
Speaking of good midfielders, Martin Odegaard looking a lot more like himself lately. Today, the sign of recovery wasn't so much from the shooting, because I think that's sort of been the carrying, and the shooting has been what has given us the encouragement that, okay, we have our captain back. But today it was more about his direct passing. Because, I've cracked a lot of jokes about this man. I've called him a condom. I've said he's come across at times as the cautious, sort of the handbrake on the team, where it's like, well, you're supposed to be the most offensive player in the midfield. We want the magic from you, bro. Like, we need more of that from you. And sometimes you get the sense that he's the one that's out there that's literally the personification of Arteta, like, calma. And it's like, no, we don't want that from the guy that's essentially, even though he's not a full-on natural 10, he's basically our 10. Among the players on the pitch, he's the most creative. And today, the directness in this game, essentially, I mean, I haven't seen this Odegaard in maybe ever. Like, he was pinging balls from his own half to try to get the attackers into one-on-ones. Like, is this a version we're going to see this season, you think?
It comes back down to Gyokeres, and I think there's probably been an instruction, but also a little bit of the Mbappe's training with the Real Madrid players, and they're like, oh shit, this guy is really fucking good, kind of thing. So I feel like they've probably seen Gyokeres in training a few times. I'm thinking, yeah, we probably need to give him the ball early, because he can do stuff. Like, he can shoot the ball really hard. That's a good thing. But it's the fact that he's not even thinking, which is something we accuse him of doing a bit too much of. We want a little bit of CTE, not Bruno, please, because but we do want a little bit of CTE there. And I saw him give the ball away quite a few times today, and I was okay with it. I was genuinely okay with it, because it wasn't self-serving, and it was, I'm trying to get these guys in on goal, kind of thing. I feel like it's the best decision. So I'm going to be the captain. I'm going to be the one to make the decision. I'm also the most offensive midfielder here as well. So let me take that responsibility. If we lose the ball, that's fine. I'll get it back, and I'll try. If you guys make the run, I'll try again. And especially in the second half, right? I literally screamed at my screen. I was like, "That's what I'm talking about," because he played the ball really early down the side for Gyokeres. I was like, "That's Gyokeres' strength right there. That pass right there down the side is," and Odegaard is doing it in preseason. So it's not like I think we're waiting. We're gonna see it we're gonna have to wait a couple months in the league to see that. Like, no, he already understands. So it's a good thing, and the players as well. The best thing I think about today about Martin Odegaard is the fact that when he had the ball, all of our attackers and even some from midfield were making forward runs. Like, it just does. It's such a simple thing, but it just does so much. It does so much. Like, for us, it causes so much danger. It creates so much space. Just keep making those forward runs, because players like Martin Odegaard, even if he's not Fabregas or Ozil, he's good enough to find you. So just keep making those forward runs, man, please.
And if anything, just the by virtue of the fact that other teams know that threat exists, it changes the way they approach the game. They just play differently. We're not going to see as many low blocks, because they know we might hit it first time, And now is a good time to probably talk about the goals, because we've done a lot of talking and we haven't done a lot of detail in the game. We could point to the things that happened in the game, but folks, you're not here for that. You can go watch the highlights for that. 34th minute, the first goal of the game, Victor Gyokeres game breaker, a header. Felt a bit sarcastic because it was such a good header. But the cross might have been better from Zubimendi. So two of our summer signings combined to break the deadlock in this game. The header was so good, I thought it was Kai Havertz. What the fuck's going on, coach? Like, I know the Freaky Friday sequel is out, but what the fuck going on, man? Saturday.
We spend too much time together, because Freaky Friday was exactly what I was thinking. Like, it was exactly what I was thinking. But that's essentially what it was. I think, it's really good that he's one weakness that we think that we're worried about. He's got the monkey off his back already in that regard. And I love when football is just played so simply. Martin Zubimendi is crossing the ball on his strong side, first time, and Gyokeres is making a run, a dart across the box towards like the edge of the 6 yard box to, to get a glancing header. Like football is very simple, guys. It can be very simple. And I think we'll probably get onto that when we speak about Madueke as well. But I think the key thing here was the fact that it's our striker making that sort of run. We're not waiting for somebody else to kind of take responsibility. Like I like when teams have their talisman is their striker or their best forward player. I think that's a sign of a good attacking system when you know who the obvious danger is, yet he's the one always bailing you out. I think that's a very good sign. So please, more of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, didn't expect it. Also wasn't surprised by it because even though he didn't score a single-headed goal last season, you watch his highlight package and you see some goals in there. You also see some misses, but you see some goals in there. And honestly, the more important part was the fact that he was there, that he made that run, and it was interesting listening to Nigel Winterburn on commentary talking about how he was like, that is a striker's movement. That is something that's natural to him that we've lacked in this team. And it was just nice to see us take advantage of it so quickly, it's a shame I wasn't on Twitter while that was going on. I would like to have seen what a lot of the bellyachers from during the week said when he scored that goal, because it was almost a sarcastic, like, shut up, like, I got this in my bag too. Now, on top of that, in the second half, he almost scored another header from a Madueke cross, but maybe we'll get to that a little bit later. Maybe we won't, but we've mentioned it at least. Almost immediately afterwards, a second goal. And this is where the directness from Odegaard comes in handy. I think Bilbao had kicked the goal kick. Big Gabby heads it back. Gyokeres chests it down to Odegaard, and he hits it first time into the space behind their defense. Martinelli runs onto it, exactly what we want from him, running onto balls instead of going from a standing stop. He runs onto the ball, runs past the defender, runs past the goalkeeper even, I feel like, then tees it up for a Sakai empty net finish. I don't know, Coach. I can only hope, but I think we're going to see a lot of this.
I mean, I flipping hope so, because first of all, Martin Odegaard has played it first time with his right foot, which is just is really, guys. It might not seem like a big thing, but I promise you, it is. It really is.
It is. You don't use that shit, but for standing.
Yeah, literally, this helps him walk, to get up from the sofa to go to the toilet. That's what it's there for, honestly. And it's a good thing because, again, what is it? Forward runs. Like all three of our forwards basically were involved in that goal, and two of them were making the running behind. And it's just, for me, it's really refreshing, but also kind of frustrating as well that, it's the same players that are doing this. It's not like we've bought, we've bought a whole new team kind of thing. It's the same attackers that are making these forward runs that are causing the danger. And the fact that Martinelli didn't shoot as well, I think I was like, I'm glad. Like you actually have a little bit of there's still some brain cells there, which is good,
He'd already gotten his CTE moment earlier in the game when he probably should have waited for the Gyokeres overlap, because there was a break, there was a high press, who got the ball, he gets the ball, he's running at their defense. I guess it wasn't the worst thing in the world to shoot, but I thought that in that moment he should have passed it. So he got that out the way and made a much better decision later on, so I appreciate that. So 2-0 going into the half. You did drop a sort of a review, your thoughts from the first half on the timeline, but if you want to give us like a Cliff Notes version of it, that was a 2-minute version. Give us a 20-second version. What did you make of the entire half?
Energetic. That was the main thing, and I think it's a very good sign that the players can up their energy levels 3 days removed from their last game. That's a huge thing, and that was my main takeaway. Like the goals were the goals, but the energy levels were just fantastic. Honestly,
yeah, the teams almost looked as if they were at different levels of fitness. But really, if Arsenal had played the way they played against Villarreal today, then we probably don't get the results we get. So on to halftime, and Calafiori was off for Benjamin White. That meant that Timber had to move to the left for a while, and Noni Madueke came on for Gabriel Martinelli. Thought that was a good sub. The game essentially kept the same pattern. The tempo was still high from Arsenal, but we didn't create a lot. There were a few moments where there were some good crosses, one from White from the right, then one from Madueke from the left. And it looked like on each of those crosses, when Timber and Sakai respectively tried to head the ball, they both got fouled. But it's preseason, so we're not tripping about that. But those were good crosses, and it was nice to see crosses from people's strong feet coming in, from the wing, from the wide areas, which is what we all grew up watching before Pep ruined the world. you know, um, the hour mark. Actually, you know what? There was a nice play to Gyokeres on around the halfway line, and he held it up and played it in for Saka. Didn't Nothing came of that, but I really loved the fact that there was some chemistry developing there between our new center forward and the guys that play with him. Uh, do you think there's an argument that we still aren't, like a lot of really smart Arsenal observers have made the point that when we get the ball from those high turnovers or on the counter attack, we're still not the smartest or most efficient team in that regard. I feel as if we saw some leftover symptoms of that today.
Yeah, I think the main thing here is we're shooting from them more. Like in preseason, I've already seen 4 high turnovers that have one of them has resulted in a goal, the Marino goal against Newcastle. But outside of that, it's the fact that we'd get high turnovers and we wouldn't get a shot off. It's like now it's being clever is not always about being intricate. Being clever is about sometimes taking the shortest route. And I think sometimes if you win the ball at a high turnover, don't wait. The chance, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you've got a chance to shoot, just shoot. Basically, unless there's a very clear open goal for somebody else to score from. But I think the main thing is creating dangers, or you don't give teams a chance to get back in. The moment you fake a shot and then now 2 players have now covered space now that panic is gone. The panic is actually gone, and now you're panicking. You think, shit, I fucked up, and now they're a bit more relaxed in watching you essentially dribble the ball out of play now. So yeah, I think the main thing for me, high turnovers, just turn them into shots. That's it.
Yeah, one of the ones that actually got turned into a shot was the Madueke thing I mentioned earlier, where it was a good high press. I think Big Gabby won the ball back, played it directly into Madueke. He looks up, chips it right onto Gyokeres, right in front of Gyokeres. Gyokeres goes with a diving header. That's a heritage move right there. Diving header. Keeper Unai Simon gets a nice fingertip on it. It hits a post. It goes out, and shortly afterwards, Gyokeres came off the pitch. Again, to go back to him, I know we've talked about him a little bit, but Gyokeres, we saw a lot of good. That being the 2 attempts at goal that I can think of. One was a goal, and the other one got saved that I just mentioned. I saw him try to take his man on a few times. Wasn't entirely sure of that. There was a one-on-one with Danny Vivian where he just ran it out of bounds. Didn't like that. There was another 1v1 in the second half where he was a little impatient, I thought, because I
He
think
tried to cut in and he basically
yeah, and I think he's actually pretty good at that because he tends to wait for the defender to plant that front foot, then he attacks the front foot. He didn't wait for that. He tried to go through him. He tried to nutmeg him, then he kind of wasted it. Do you think we can expect him to, because I feel like he will really arrive when he scores one of those trademark goals, because the header wasn't what we expected. It was nice, but I think he's really going to arrive when we see him run at somebody, cut in, and shoot. When do you think we see that? Have they seen it in training yet?
hopefully next week. But honestly, I couldn't say. I think it's about manufacturing those conditions, and you get those conditions when you play the ball early. You don't get that by when a team's settled and he's like, where's the space for him to run at and run into? So you get the ball to him early. It's almost like, okay, guys, I got this part now. This is what I'm good at. You know, like almost like you got a really cool rap song. It's like, oh shit, I've got a hook. Let me call Nate Dogg. You know, basically.
Dig him up.
Yeah, oh my god.
Dig him up.
but yeah, like you really want to let guys do what they're good at. And again, the chance that you got came from Madueke playing on his strong side, crossing the ball first time. You know, he's not trying to cut back in, and you know now the defenders can have an extra second to get themselves set. It's like whip it in first time, and look at all the space he had. You know, like you do that. Martinelli basically gets in that position, and he probably still gets the cross in. I hope, but like, you know, he's cut back in and he's floated it in now rather than whipping it with pace. Like, football's wonderfully simple, man. Seriously, like it.
This is a good transition point, Coach. I know Nani didn't get. I mean, he played a half, but I felt like the tempo of the game dropped, especially after the subs started coming on. So I'm not gonna judge him too much, but I feel like this was a good performance. If only we're judging the crossing and some of the tracking back, I thought he was very solid on the left there. Like he looks like a solid option.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing for me with Noni is getting used to how everybody else plays. 'Cause I think physically he's a freak, you know. So that will be that's not even my worry there. Getting used to how everybody else plays means that his gifts, they'll understand his gifts. He can understand theirs as well, and we can again play to his strengths, and he can play to theirs as well. So he tried a few 1-2s, which I think is great. I think Noni isn't gonna, even though his stats say that he beats guys and creates danger kind of thing. Just from my own eye test, I think he's going to create a lot more danger by suckering guys in and going for the 1-2. That's what I think is we're going to see. So the more of that, basically, go for the 1-2, flashed fast balls across the face of goal, or whipped crosses into like the far post, even maybe even the near post. But I think that's where I hope to see him develop in the short term, and then we can start, talking about, watching Ryan Giggs tapes, but not those Ryan Giggs tapes, So
Oh man, haram. I mentioned the subs earlier. Timber came on for MLS came on for Timber, who had moved to left back after Ben White came on, and Big Gabby went off for Mosquera. Mosquera looks like he might be ready to contribute some solid minutes already. I don't think we're gonna wait too long for him to be useful. He essentially seems like a right-footed Gabriel to me. Is that a good description to you, you think?
well, I mean, he played left centre back, in the second half as well. So that's
Yeah, it's the same kind of aggression, same
yeah,
kind of telescopic legs, same kind
yeah,
of you gonna smell my cologne marking.
yeah,
Like he's just
yeah,
all up on people. It's almost irritating for me. Like, damn, like he moved like Yao Pelina used to do Odegaard back in the day. Like the same policeman, like,
yeah,
let me smell your neck. Like,
yeah.
I love it. He's on my team, so I love it. Can't wait to see more of him. Um, 70th minute, Gyokeres came off for Kai Havertz. And good Lord, Kai Havertz is, I mean, that, they call them over here NFLs, nigga fucking large. Pause. Like that man is huge, man. He looked like the Undertaker, bro. Like he looks like a fridge. He just
Do you reckon he grew again, or like what's going on?
I don't even know, bro, because I'm just gonna skip to the fucking goal he scored. That was a Gyökeres goal. I don't like what's going on with this Freaky Friday shit, bro. Like he ran from deep, which I always knew he had that in his bag, but I haven't seen that in such a long time. And Saka with a brilliant ball. By the way, I know we're not going to give Saka a lot of time, but I thought he was excellent today.
There's no
Completely
point
destroyed this matchup in the first half.
because
Destroyed that guy.
there's no point in talking about Saka because that's Saka, bro. That's Saka. Like,
That's the baseline.
yeah, that's Saka. That's fine. We'll get to Saka eventually, but that's a standard Saka performance for me, man. It is what it is. Like,
Yeah, but this Kai Havertz run, it was like a 60, 70-yard run from deep in our half to shrug off a defender and finish it calmly past the goalkeeper. I know you can't predict the future, coach, but if you were a gambling man, which we're not, we don't gamble on this pod, but if you were a gambling man, who gets more minutes this season, him or Gyökeres?
it's another talking point that I had with my.
I know, I'm sorry, but we got to do it.
Man, I'll be honest. I still think Havertz. Going off what Arteta I think probably views as the best version of this team. I think he probably still goes with Havertz. That's not to say that Gyokeres can't change his mind, but I think just from my thinking, that's what it is. And I think the most impressive thing about that goal is that it reminded me of Diego Costa, and Diego Costa is one of my favorite strikers of the modern era. I think he embodies everything a number 9 should be. Basically annoying, annoying and scores goals.
Yeah, and plays us pouring too loud. Yeah.
Basically, like, he does all the wrong things if you're facing him, all the right things if he's on your team. And that goal was that it was bully ball. He chased it down, ran past them, held it off, slotted it in, kind of thing. But also, I think it was a clear indication that hamstring is absolutely fine. Arteta might be right. He might be Scott Steiner. He might be a genetic freak. He actually might be.
Love to see it. Love to see it. The last really notable moment of the game, to my observation, besides the penalty kicks that we probably won't talk about, most of them were fantastic. was a really yet another moment of brilliance from Zubimendi. He wins the ball in midfield and plays it instantly to Saka over the top. Saka, I think, was in two minds there. This is why I was talking about our counterattacking being a little dumb at times. He either could have lobbed the keeper from a distance or he could have just taken the shot on his weak foot. He decides to cut back in onto his left foot. Defender does well. It goes out of bounds. But just seeing put it this way. This is a general point to make to all the Arsenal fans. If you're looking for changes and you didn't see enough of those changes in today's game, then it's because you don't want to see the changes. This is clearly a more direct team, playing a more direct style of football. I don't know that it's necessarily better, but I do prefer this to watching us passing a U shape against a deep block. Coach, any further insights? This was just a really fun game to watch. I'm excited for the season. I'll be nervous about Old Trafford in a little bit, but today is a day to rejoice because it was such a lovely performance and a lovely result.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to love about what Arsenal are trying to do, and Arteta's vision of us being good at everything, I think, is getting a bit closer now. Like, there's more options there. Like when Arteta says things, I really think people just kind of glance over it because they're waiting to find something to dislike and hate about what he said because they already don't like him. And I don't feel like he says anything unintentionally. I think a lot of the things he says, he's sending a message kind of thing. So when he says, I want us to be the best at everything, I think he genuinely means that. So one of the things we're not great at is transition kind of thing, but we're clearly improved on that now. Even forget the signings, just the intention of of how he wants us to play. So the signings came, and now I feel like it's been sort of solidified that that's our next big evolution, because to me, Arsenal in possession can still be the best in possession team in the league if we want to be, but really and truly, not every game needs that. I feel like being good in possession is probably good against maybe 4 or 5, teams in the league, and they're towards the top side of the league. Where the other teams, you don't want to get them settled. You don't want to let them settle, kind of. So you don't want them to settle, shall I say? You want to be able to play quickly,
You want to give them the impression that they have a chance.
Basically, yeah.
Which will give you space to do what you need to do to them.
Exactly, yeah.
Very well said, Coach. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that Ethan came on briefly at the end, and even in his little 8-minute cameo alongside Marino, he just looked electric. Like that kid, I feel like I've been watching him for a long time now. We all have, because we've known about him since he was 14, 15. That kid is really fast. Like, that's one of the more underrated elements of his game.
It's the first 5 to 10 yards. I think first 5 to 10 yards, it is just... And I know, obviously, when you're short, like, your rate looks really quick. It looks like you're going faster than maybe what you are. But no, he's getting away from guys. I mean, if we want to go back to the goal he scored against Brighton, like, he was gone. Like, he created that angle purely off of the pace that he has, you know.
But that was a less aerodynamic version of him with more hair and less height,
Exactly. So I think there's, when he gets the ball and he stops you and then he does that little quick step over and goes on the outside of you, that's where you see how quick he really is, because it's a standing start and he'll knock the ball. He has time to get a step over off and he's gone. Like it's
he
crazy,
reminds me of in those areas, and I know he sees himself as a midfielder / someone who can play in all 5 attacking positions in the team. But he really reminds me of 2 guys, Romario and Aguero. Like that first 5 yards where they just little legs can't over a long distance you probably catch them up, but good Lord, like I cannot wait to see what he turns into. Like that kid is amazing, and I gotta say it's nice, and I hate to mention it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It's nice to not have anything to say about Max Dowman because he was on a break, very deserved break.
Well, I did say take him out the spotlight, because that one there is gonna be, he can be whatever he wants. Like he is a player that we look at. We said the same with Ranieri, but I think it's probably even more true for Max. If Max decides he wants to be the best left-sided attacking midfielder in the world, then he will be, basically. Like, I'm not saying that's where he should play, but if he decides that's what he wants to be, that's what he's gonna be, and he'll be the best at it. So
honestly, man, we're getting to a point where we have enough rockets, as you like to call them, that it should just be a matter of matchups on the day. Like, I'm gonna put these people out there, and you get to play against this guy because your skill set is it's not that Sakas is really good off the touchline on the right. It's like, nah, you're really good against everybody, but today you got Titus Bramble up against you in the middle. How about we play you at center forward today? And that same thing for Max, same thing for Ethan. Like I'm excited for the future, but it's been a good end to the preseason. Looking forward to the season starting next week. But before that, we have a big treat for you guys. So keep your ears and eyes peeled for during the week. Coach and I will be talking to a very awesome guest, and we're pretty excited about it. We cannot wait to share that with you. But obviously, enjoy this and share with your friends and share with people you don't like. Share with everybody. Because we trying to make money off this shit, man. We trying to get rich, motherfucker. I mean, you feel me, coach? We trying to make some money off this shit, man. I mean, all these bars we be giving them, like, this is proper insight, bro. Like, today's audio quality might be a little tricky because I have my mic, but otherwise, I gotta say,
No, you
coach,
sound good to me.
you sound great to me too. I mean, and that goes for the insight, that goes for the audio. Man, we killing this shit, bro. You know what? Tell the people, coach.
Peace and much love to you.
Hey folks, this is Dean from the Shirtless Plantain Show. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on all our socials. You can see them right beneath our recordings in every video. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.